numbers. We touched on this. So this is number 7. It's probably one of the more important ones. They're all important, but if you don't know your numbers, it's such a generic statement. You can. I have dealt with an 8-figure company, and they lost $100,000. 8 figures, and they lost $100,000. They didn't know their numbers. Everything came very quick. Going back 5 years ago, everything looked great, but PPC was at over 200%. That they didn't consider all the different charges that Amazon, including long-term storage fees. So long-term storage fees, I just saw a guy yesterday that has a $6,800 bill coming up. And so we got to get that stuff out back over to a warehouse. We don't want to have that. People make really big mistakes by putting all of their product over on Amazon and not using a 3PL or a warehouse. So you don't want to get these long-term fees. You'd rather spend $20 a pallet storing it and then just sending it over as needed. It'll be way cheaper. Using a foreign exchange bank, that's so important to keep costs down. My bank, I know my bank charges $45 on a wire, and they charge money coming in, and they just see me coming with Pigeon. And we've gone out and we're really great now at making sure that we go through a foreign exchange bank. We've got great rates that we looked at Amazon. I'm in Canada. They were charging us 4%. So 4%. Now, do $10,000, it's a lot of money. Do $1 million, do $10 million. You're paying a lot of money to Amazon for their foreign exchange. It's crazy. PayPal. A lot of people are using PayPal to pay suppliers. There's so many there's foreign exchange banks out there that will give you a small percentage, a fraction of what you normally would pay. And that $45 wire that I normally paid is pretty much free now. Everything's ACH, which is just, it's just an electronic transfer. So it's either free or you pay $1.50. It's a lot different than, having to pay huge fees. Now, some other companies, they pay a percentage on the transaction, but you just have to, weigh it out. And, dealing directly with a currency makes a bigger difference in dealing with, there's a whole other topic, but dealing with your Chinese manufacturers in RMB rather than US dollars, you could probably save yourself anywhere from 5%, 10%, maybe even higher, because they're worried about the market fluctuation. They're just hedging their the dollar amount. Paying them in RMB, you're paying them flat out, and you'll save yourself right there. So there's lots of little ways that you can save money. Your FOB point, by you creating or working out with your logistics company, we just saved a company $6,000 because we picked it up and sent it over to Amazon, to the warehouse and over to Amazon, where they were going to let their manufacturer do it. Letting your manufacturer do your packaging. They're not manufacturers. They're just going to their buddy's place. They're manufacturers. They're not designers. Just check it out. There's lots of packaging companies out there, and you can go and get that price and then give it to your manufacturer. So here's a tip with your manufacturer, by the way. When you're working with your manufacturer and you're sourcing, get a rock bottom price on the product. Negotiate it as if you're going to buy it. This hand that broke off, Norm. Anyways, let's say that's $1. Okay, it's $1 unpackaged. You work out a price with your supplier. Now you go to your packaging company that you found, and maybe you get the insert and the packaging, and you come back and say, hey, you see this? This has to be packaged somewhere. Could you package this for me? Number one, they'll probably do it for free to put it in the package. Most of the time, the high majority of the manufacturers will package for free. The other part is with packaging, they're probably going to put on at least 30%, 40%. If you're supplying the package, you're going to save that on the packaging costs. So it's just a really quick, easy way that you can go out and get the packaging just like they would. Yeah.
And Anto Joggermere says, "Where's the doggo? Where's the dog?" Dallas.
Oh, oh, yeah. So the dog, Dallas, is gone. My cigar dog, if you are watching I Know a Guy, the other podcast, we'll give you the heads up. Okay, this is my little mascot on I Know a Guy, which is my other podcast. But yep, unless you meant Dallas, and he's not in here because he's a pest. So, and then the last topic is getting to know your audience. So I understand people with beards. If I am selling beard oil, I am not going to be selling it to some, people that don't have beards. It doesn't make any sense. Well, it sounds corny, but there's a lot of people out there that do that. They don't like they're selling products to people that don't have beards. And you've got to know it. You've got to do some research. I don't know how many, I don't know how many people are listening, but if you are, have you ever done market research? Like find out your demographic. And maybe that goes back to changing the product too. Maybe there's something in that demographic that you can change to make your product different and you can target it. I'm going to give you a great example. So going back to soap, and please, you know what? Don't knock this off. I'm giving you one of my secrets, one of my products. So I sell soap, and the soap is kind of expensive, but I have a niche market, and it's mudders. These are guys that like to get dirty in the mud. So I sell them mud, Dead Sea mud soap for mudders. And it's like 3 times the price, and it's a lot bigger. But they like it because it's for mudders, and they get clean with mud. Well, I know my audience, and I can charge the price, and I can create the packaging to do it. That's the secret. And this is the other thing. Maybe you have a product that can be cross-promoted, or you can take to different audiences and just put different packaging on it. And some people will pay more than other people for this exact same product in a different package. And I'm going to give you, I can't tell you the name, but we had a package that started out at around like 49 bucks. We got new packaging. It went up to 100 bucks. And now, I am not kidding you, the package, and I know he's on the call, and I'm not saying anything about your product, but the package is now it's a wood package, beautifully, like high perceived value, and we're selling the same product at $200. And the cost of it is $16. It's crazy, but people will pay. And it started out at $49. So if you know your audience, you can get a higher perceived value just by changing around the packaging a little bit. You can target them in the Amazon listing. You can target them on Facebook, and you can get a lot more profit because they're willing to pay because it's specifically for their